Hey everybody, welcome to my latest video. As you can probably tell by what's looking back at you on your screen, we're going to be talking about VirtualBox in this video. And specifically, there is a new beta. Now, it doesn't appear that this is linked directly to the virtualbox.org website, but if you go over to neowin.net, there is an article about VirtualBox Beta 1, and there is a download link, which I will put a link to this article and the download link in the description. And so we're going to go ahead and get this installed, and then while that's installing, we'll take a look at some of the new features. So we'll jump to downloads because I've already downloaded this, and we'll see if we can't just run this and go from there. I don't have any VMs of any value on this Windows box, so this is a perfect testing ground. Next. Yes. Yes. Install. So there are a number of features in this new version. And again, this is beta, so I would not recommend running this on a production system. But if we come down to the changelog for beta 1, we've got audio recording with OGG Vorbis being the default for WebM containers. We've got a default host audio type. We've got guest control implemented, initial support for automatic updating of guest editions for Linux guests. VBox manage, added guest control, wait run level to make it possible to wait for a guest to reach a certain run level. Windows host, added experimental support of running auto-started VMs in session 0 to allow running VMs even when a user is not being logged in. Disabled by default. And so there are going to be a number of other things, of course, that will be on here. So let's go ahead and we'll minimize our browser window. Start Oracle VM VirtualBox 7.0.0 Beta 1 after installation. Finish. Let's take a look at this and see if we notice visual changes. Okay, so we get a beta build warning. That is absolutely fine. As far as other things, preferences, that all looks relatively unchanged. Do that. And if we look at settings for an individual VM, because I've only got the one VM over here, looks like they've updated the look and feel of this a little bit. But again, it's been a little while since I've run VirtualBox for any length of time. Processor controls, acceleration. This is all pretty standard stuff that existed before. Storage. Looks like there is some new controller types potentially. VirtIO is listed. That's interesting. Okay, so that's got the RescueZilla disk in it, so we're going to remove that. We can make that a solid state, which did exist before. Again, this is got all kinds of things in here. Audio, looks relatively unchanged. Network, bridged, cloud, experimental. That's might be new. Serial ports, USB. I'm going to take that off. Okay. Shared folders, user interface. Looks relatively good. Let's start our VM. So this little pop-out panel seems to be different. Which is not bad. Implementation of USB 2.0 controller not found. USB controller state is part of the saved VM state. Okay, that's fine. So the launch was aborted. We want to jump back to grab the extension pack. And then we'll see if this changes anything. Open. Upgrade. Agree. Installing package. Okay, so let's see if we can then start our one existing VM. That looks better. New splash screen, which isn't bad at all. See if this actually gets booted all the way up. Won't make any full predictions quite yet. And it does look like it is booting up. Okay. Take off the preview pane. That is honestly kind of annoying. And we get our Ubuntu VM. And just for the sake of argument, we are connected to the internet on that, even after upgrading the version of VirtualBox. Okay, so let's go ahead and shut this down. Alright, yes. And so I want to check and see if I've got any ISO images on this machine. And we've got nothing but Ubuntu. Okay, we'll grab something, and I'm going to grab something, and I will be back momentarily. Okay, so we are back, and I've got a new ISO for Ubuntu 22.10 downloaded. And they have changed these the wizard here a bit, which I have to say I'm rather impressed. Skip unattended installation. Next. Oh, I like this. No product key needed. 2210. Kinetic. Install in background. Guest additions. Next. We're going to give it 4 gigs of RAM. Processors, we're going to give it 2. 25 gigs is fine. That all looks good. Next. Let's go back here to what I wanted. And finish. Okay, so this unattended install is something a little bit different. I'm not entirely sure how this is all going to run, but we'll watch in the preview and learn together. I think it's interesting that they are going down this road, and this definitely makes it more interesting for me to circle around and look at VirtualBox some more. In all honesty, I'd rather lost interest in it after it hadn't really changed substantially in quite a number of years. But this beta version is going to be something I'll be watching closely. Given the snail's pace that Oracle seems to be moving with even getting to a beta, I can't make any real predictions that we'll see a final version before spring of 2023. But they might surprise me. They might surprise me. I'm just interested to see how this new feature is going to work and whether it's oh, it looks like install. It's doing something there. Not sure how often I will use this feature, but it is rather interesting. So there's, I'm pretty sure this is new, activity. Gives you some nice graphs, if I do say so myself. Also under tools, there's activities, which sort of gives you an overview of host RAM usage, amount of free memory total, and then CPU usage and file system, which it's all reporting as 0, and then guest CPU, RAM, and network. So that's interesting there. We'll pop the preview down again and see. And that is doing an unattended install. that definitely makes things a little more interesting. The other thing that would be interesting, export to OCI. OCI is Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. Um, I'm curious to see what new export options might exist. We've got the three different versions of OVF, and then we've got Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. So that's not really any more useful than what it has been in the past. Um, let's just do this and write manifest file. We'll say next. And that's all fine. We'll say finish. And that should writing appliance for the activity. That's all good. So this is context aware, or appears to be. Okay, so that's doing its install. I'm going to go ahead and pause the video. I will be back when this is finished up and we're ready to launch into the new Ubuntu instance. Okay, so it appears that we are rebooting. And I would like to know if I can detach that display. It's not something I really expected to find when I upgraded to this new version. So, do like the splash screen if it is a little on a large size. Okay. So I am going to shut this down. And I don't have any way of controlling that. Okay, that's, yeah, one of those things that you find out when you're testing beta software. Okay, so we're just going to power it off. Okay, so we can install a new machine. I want to jump into settings and let's enable 3D acceleration and bump the video RAM up. That might help the cause there. Storage, it automatically removed the optical disk. So I'm hoping that if we shut it down and restart it, then maybe I'll get the normal pop out UI. Do a normal start. There we go. Let's see if this works a little better. Not sure I really like this stuff here down in the corner, but we'll see how this turns out. Oh, and we have a problem. That's not cool. Let's try this one more time. Maybe we'll have some better luck here. And the log. Well, at least the logs look good. Well, we got a little farther that time. We're still not ending up in a operating VM. All right, well, hold that thought one more time. I'm going to go off camera and run another install, and then I'll be back. All right, so this is the second VM that I've created with Ubuntu. Admittedly, this is the 22.10 alpha/daily release. It gets stuck after the install at the boot screen. Now, it's hard to tell at this point whether the fault lies in VirtualBox 7 being in beta or Ubuntu 22.10 being in alpha. So I'm going to make one more attempt. I'm going to grab 2204 desktop, which is stable, and we'll make one attempt with that. If that doesn't work, we'll wrap the video. All right, we're booting up our Ubuntu 22.04.1 desktop VM in VirtualBox 7 Beta 1. We'll see if this works any better. The first time I tried to boot it up, it failed. It gave me a memory error. Played with a couple of settings, and it appears that it's actually going to let me go to the desktop. So I guess to wrap up, VirtualBox 7 Beta 1 still has some rough edges. It's not working with Ubuntu 22.10 daily. It installs, but it does not function. And it takes some fiddling even with the stable 22.04.1, which is the latest stable release. At this point, as would be true with really any beta software, I recommend this not to be installed on a production system. Install it on a secondary system, something that you're using for testing purposes, and you can help by filing bug reports and helping the developers as they move forward towards the release date. So, with all that said, I'm going to continue doing some testing with this. There are definitely things I want to try, and I'm most interested to see if I can reproduce the errors and then submit a bug report myself. If more people do that, then we can make VirtualBox 7 a better experience for those people out there that might be dabbling into it for the first time after it's released. Especially those on Windows 11 systems, which this will be the first version of VirtualBox that will run reliably on Windows 11. So on that note, I'm going to wrap this up. Hopefully you got something out of this video, and if you did, I'd invite you to like and subscribe to the channel. Share this with a friend that is into technology and virtualization or wants to learn about it, or somebody that does software testing. You know, somebody might pick up something that I did along the way that's a red flag that is the culprit for the issue I had with Ubuntu 22.10 daily and why that VM is not functioning. So hopefully between now and, you know, whenever the next beta is released and ultimately the final version of VirtualBox 7, hopefully this will get straightened out so that people experiencing VirtualBox for the first time will not be met by these errors. All right. On that note, everybody have a great day. Happy computing, and I'll see you in the next video.